Hello guys, I'm back from another video and today we're talking about a brand new series called What If Belle Was Overpowered as Hell? So yeah, this is actually gonna be a pretty simple what if. I just made it out of a hat because, at the time I didn't have any ideas, so I decided to make this. And it sort of spun out into a lot of different ideas. And this is what I settled on. Don't mind the Dark Souls inspiration, so yeah. So, let us begin, shall we? So, in this world, Belle would be born, not technically born in this place, but more or less well, his parents were basically killed there, and he was brought to that place. In this case, the dungeon. Yeah, he's basically been raised in the dungeon where every single thing there would basically try and kill him. So yeah, let's just say Bell literally has a big chip on his back because of it. He doesn't really know or remember his parents, but he did remember them basically being right beside him when they basically died from an attack by some random monsters. And also their teammates basically betraying them. Don't even ask about that part. So yeah, Bell doesn't even remember anything about his parents, but all he knows is to survive. And so, because he's basically been living in the dungeon, he would basically be strong. Thanks to, basically being in the dungeon where basically a place where several freaking monsters would basically try and attack you. And so would become overpowered. And not only that, he would gain a skill, not because, he was given powers by a goddess or a god or whatever, by being in the familia, because at the time, he wasn't even a part of a familia yet. Because, he was abandoned there. Or at least, well, like, his parents were basically killed there or whatever. And the baby basically just, like, was there, aka Belle. You basically get it. And in this case, Belle would basically gain the skill after a while of basically fighting monsters and eating their flesh. So, in this case, this skill is basically similar to Predator from, yeah, I think it was called like, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. That's basically what the skill is. It allows him to basically gain the powers and the abilities of some monsters. Which, oh boy, let's just say this kid, aka Belle, was overpowered as hell. And unfortunately, this is going to be some introductions. This is going to be a pretty short video, so yeah. So, Belle would be super overpowered, and not only that, would wield, powerful weapons to boot. What do I mean by this? Well, he would basically steal weapons and also some armor from some, random adventurers that basically decide to come in and basically try and kill him. And because of his skills, or more specifically the skills that he gained from basically killing those monsters and eating their flesh, he would basically be stronger than all of them. And including probably even stronger than maybe like, how strong? Probably even more stronger than Eyes in her prime, at least I think so. I mean, in the anime, they would always say, like, Eyes is pretty powerful. Let's just say, like, maybe, like, um, 10 times as strong as Eyes. And he would also gain some experience, but there's a bit of a bit of a drawback. He's a bit dumb, and also a bit afraid. Not really afraid, more like paranoid. So, because of his, lifetime basically being in the dungeon, he would basically be a quivering mess, I guess you can say. It's more like he has this sense of awareness that makes him sure to basically try and kill anybody that dares try to attack him. Like for an example, adventurers. He would always wear a skull of one of his, defeated enemies, like for example, a large snake. And every time when people saw this, they would think he's a monster and they would start to attack him. And, well, let's just say he doesn't really trust anybody because of that. He would basically be, a bit suspicious of, like, completely suspicious of everybody, and so doesn't trust anybody at all, including some adventurers which, when they saw his actual face, they would try and basically try and calm him down, but they wouldn't survive. mostly getting killed. Izuku doesn't really. Not Izuku, I meant Bell, god damn it! This is going back. This is basically gonna happen every single time now. I just hope it stops. I'm always confusing like Bell to Izuku. I don't know why. I think it's because I keep doing like, what if Deku, what ifs for my whole life right now in this channel, and I can't really, change it or, adapt to it. So I might say like, Deku or Izuku or whatever, but just ignore that, okay? And also for the guy that basically was commenting about like, the Izuku slash like Deku counter or whatever you want to call it. Please keep doing that because this is actually gonna be some progress for me at least. So yeah. So because of this, Bell basically doesn't really like, trust anybody. And if somebody actually sees his true face, basically like breaking the mask, they would basically try and talk to him, but nobody would ever survive. So yeah. And also, if you're wondering, so does he eat, the adventures as well? No. One time he actually tried to eat one, and it tasted like absolute dog shit to him. So he basically stopped eating them and just like, took away their weapons, which Izuku would basically get some of their weapons as well, including their armor, which it's mostly just like, the armor that he usually wears is basically just like a mixed match of like, random, you know, armors that he gotten over the years. And he would also gain a large shield with a blade on it and also a large sword, which accidentally broke, but thankfully to how do we say that? But thankfully he had this special ability that allows him to basically create like this almost like lightsaber type thing. What do I mean by this? Well, the the sword kind of broke and now it's just a blunt object. And so he's able to create this weird ass like energy that is basically able to make a full sword once again. Which let's just say it's like from a monster that basically has magic. I mean all monsters from that world had magic, but let's just imagine it's like a monster that it's basically like a sorcerer, let's just say that. So, Izuku, because of this, he would basically use it to basically, like for example, make his sword shorter, or for another example, a bit longer, even making it into a large scythe head, and maybe even turning it into kind of like a hammerhead like situation for the sword. And so Izuku would be known all over all over Arario as a terrifying monster, and people call him Skullface because of it. Apparently, the reason why they call him Skullface is because many people say that, or at least the ones that basically survive, say that his actual face, or at least the face that he usually wears, or the skull or whatever, would mostly be a skull of some type of monster, which everybody would be terrified and start talking about him. And one group would be interested. In this case, otherwise known as the Loki familia. So, I also want all of you guys to vote on in the comments, or I'm probably just going to make a post on, on my community tab to basically vote on two different, familias that Izuku would basically, not Izuku, I meant Bell, goddammit, on either, Bell would basically join. Like, for example, Bell would basically join either Hestia because, regular, or, bland, or just, Loki. Which last time I did with, with What If Deku was, not What If Deku, I meant What If Bell, god damn it. With What If Bell was a BOW, god damn it. So, yeah. So, Bell would be known as Skullface, and a certain group, more specifically the Loki familia, would be interested in him. As one of these members, specifically a random familia member, we're not going to be talking about like the main members, like for example Bet and things of that sort, because currently they're at a certain meeting in a other city. So let's just say it's going to be some random members, as one of them would say this. One of them is a elf, as he would say this. So apparently that there's this weird ass monster, Apparently his name is Skullface, or at least that's what the villagers call him, or at least some of the other adventurers that basically survive his attacks. As a random girl, specifically a warrior, would say this. He sounds scary. As one of them would say this. Yeah, I heard that he basically killed anybody that dared tried to get into his territory or something. Apparently, those that survive him would basically be shocked and decide to just stop being an adventurer forever. As one of them would say this. They sound like cowards to me. As one man would basically step up, wielding a large broadsword, as he would say this. Those damn cowards think that they can actually, escape this guy, but we won't escape. How do we say this? I meant, we won't flee from this guy, or this monster, or whatever. We'll just be killing him instead. We'll be taking his head, and we will become heroes. As he would basically just brings out this sword and basically just pushes it into the sky, as everybody would basically start to cheer, saying, "Yeah, we should do it." As the, elf guy would say this, I think that's probably a bad idea. As he would say this, a bad idea? You seriously are a coward. As he would say this, I'm not a coward. I'm just saying that. As he would say this, oh come on, we might get. Oh, I don't know. As he would start to think, thinking that he might gain glory, fame, and fortune. As he would start to say this. If we kill that skull-face monster, or whatever you want to call him, we will be famed. We will be legends upon our lands, upon Aurario. We'll become heroes engraved in history. As everybody would hear this, as well, the elf guy would basically just retort, as he would say this. Maybe if we get ourselves killed, for God's sakes, as he would say this. Whatever. Hey guys, want to join me? As the rest of the people there are mostly the ones that basically decide to join him, or at least the ones that are basically just complete knuckleheads, would basically decide to join him in his fight to basically capture, or at least kill, Skullface, aka Bell. So, after they gladly decided to basically go with him, the elf guy would say this. Alright, I won't be attending your funeral then. As he would say this. Oh, shut up! As he would start to leave with the rest of the guys, as the elf guy would say this. Well, because everybody doesn't want to drink their ale, so as he would start to grab everybody's ale and starts drinking it to his, let's just say to his, former teammates' dismay. Even though the former part is probably not going to, is probably going to be signified because they're going to be fucking dead. Or at least some of them, at least. So, yeah. So, when they go into the dungeon, the Loki familia group, or at least the ones that are basically random members, the sword-wielding one, or more specifically the broadsword-wielding one would say this. So, what did you say about the Skullface guy? As the wizard of the group, or mage, he would say this. Well, apparently, this is the place that he usually calls his territory. As he would say this. Well then, grab all of your weapons. We'll be having a fun fight. And a good hunt. As he would start to grab his broadsword, basically putting it on his, shoulder. As everybody else would start to get ready in case of Skullface appearing. So, let's go back to Bell, shall we? So, Bell is currently eating a pack of wolves which he killed, and gaining their senses. While Bell is basically just eating, he would basically see some sort of screen? It's kind of similar to this is going to be a hint for one of my future what ifs, if I make it at least. So, it kind of resembles Sung Jin Woo's little screen over there when he's using the system, aka, the solo leveling system. As he would start to scroll through, several of the abilities that he gotten, as he would start pressing on, a certain button. In this case, this button says level up. As he would start to level up full senses and sense of smell. As while he's using it, or at least while he's basically just upgrading it, he would start to smell the Loki familia random members, or the random members of the Loki familia, as he would basically say this to himself, or at least in his mind. More enemies, more monsters. As he would start to grab his sword, or at least the broken sword, as he would start to ignite it, almost similar to Doomslayer while he's basically wielding the crucible. As he would start grabbing his shield, as he would basically grab his, large helmet, which is the, skull-like mask, which is made out of, like, the skull of, like, a random monster. Let's just say a minotaur this time. As everybody in the, the random Loki familia members were basically just, like, looking around in case of Skullface appearing. As Belle would basically appear out of shadow, using a skill which is basically similar to, I can't remember the name of that dog or the wolf from, was it? It's kind of similar to like Ragnar's or the Star Wolf or whatever the hell it's called from like, you know, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, as he would basically appear out of shadow as he would jump out getting ready to fight, as all of the random Loki familia members would say this. So, that's Skullface. As he would say this, specifically the one that's basically leading them. Basically the one that's wielding the broadsword. Ha! So that's that, Skullface guy. Or monster. He looks kinda weak. So they really are cowards. As not Izuku, I meant Bell, goddamn. God damn it, I meant Bell. So, Bell would basically go into a fighting stance, basically going low, almost similar to Nosuke from, wait for a second. Similar to, Inosuke from Kimetsu no Yaiba, as he would start to charge over, wielding his, large, broken broadsword that's literally lit up like, like a flame. As he would start to slash at, the leader, as he would say this. What the? How's he this strong? As he would see his sword be, his sword would be broken, as he would say this. Impossible! My sword! It was made by a Hephaestus. How the hell did you break it? As he would basically start to growl, being Bell. As Bell would basically start to create several snakes coming out of his back, almost resembling kind of like Orochimaru's snakes. As they would basically start to charge over him, as the snakes would basically start entangling him, as the snakes would basically bite on his neck. As he would start to feel, a bit dizzy and start coughing up blood. As he would say this. Is this blood? As he would start to spit out more and more blood. As one of them would start to use, magic, or more specifically, healing magic. Let's just say the mage one is using it. As he would start to grab his shield, more specifically Bell, as Bell would use the blade part of his shield and stab it into the back of the mage. One of the, fighters, or more specifically the female fighter, would start to charge over, wielding her, gauntlets. She was basically wielding gauntlets, as she would say this. Take this, you damn monster! As he would start to sprout out a tail that resembles a... As he would start to sprout out a tail similar to a Glavenus from Monster Hunter. As he would basically start to, fight her right behind him. As she would say this. The hell is this monster? What the hell? As she would basically be stabbed by the, large tail. As the tail would start, catching on fire. As it would basically burn her alive. As the leader, or at least the supposed leader, being the one with the broadsword, would say this. The hell? I'm supposed to be the one that's... As he would basically see that he's basically gone. His two teammates basically dead. As he would say this. Where the hell is he? Where the hell's that monster? Where the hell is he? As he would basically hear the sound of... the sound of a sword basically stabbing into flesh. As he would see behind him was Bell, or Skullface. As he would basically see in front of him that he's basically been impaled by the large sword, or at least the glowing part of the sword. As he would say this. how in the as he would basically glare at, Bell, as Bell would basically glare back, as he would basically, uses his arm. Just imagine it like the noble phantasm of Okada Izu. If you haven't seen it, well, it looks like this. By the way, props to the person who decided to, be a part of this video or whatever. So, just imagine it like this. Wait a minute, let me just fix that. Yeah, I kind of fixed it, thanks. So, here. That is basically what it looks like. So yeah, after not Izuku, I meant Bell, god damn it. God damn it. I meant Bell. After Bell does that, he would basically slump over as he would die. Bell would basically start to grab all of his weapons and all of the armor that they basically left, as Bell would start to walk towards his little, camp, which he made thanks to the help of a certain, let's just say like a random, adventurer decided to leave, and he would basically be killed as Bell would be, left with a large tent and some rations and maybe a bit of materials. So, after Bell goes back to his little camp, he would start to put all of these weapons into his, I guess you could say it's kind of like a bag of holding. If you don't know what it is, it's a item from D&D, which is basically what it says. It's basically a bag that basically holds many different things. It's basically connected to a pocket dimension. So, after Bell puts them in, Bell would basically just say to himself in his mind, those people, they hurt me. Why do they hurt me? Why? I didn't do anything. Why? As he would basically just decide to get some sleep because he was quite tired. And so, Bell would basically fall to sleep in his tent, all alone, knowing that nobody's gonna love him. Or at least, maybe in the next episode. So, that is basically what happened or at least in this episode. So, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!